A man kissed my wife, and she kissed him back. My wife, 25F, and I, 30M, have been together for 5 years and married for just over 3 months. Today, she told me a few weeks ago that the mechanic that she often goes to leaned into her car while she was at the shop and tried to kiss her. She said she kissed him back. My wife and I met in college. We've always been like best friends, had consistent great sex, and overall just good chemistry. We've always trusted each other. About 3 years ago we had a disagreement about wanting kids, and it was the first time we talked about it. The talk ended up with us taking a break. We weren't living together at the time, though we only lived a few minutes away from each other. Anyways, a few weeks after that we were back together. She admitted something to me. She said her male friend had come over to console her and he kissed her, but she immediately rejected him. She said at that time, she felt lonely and genuinely just wanted to talk to anyone who would listen. I was not mad or upset with her in this certain situation because I know of her mental health issues and self-esteem issues that come along with depression and past trauma. I do not think her intention was to kiss him at this time. This man was a local mechanic who always did work on her car, often for free or a discounted price. I told her I was not comfortable with this scenario after this and didn't want her to go to his shop anymore. Fast forward to 2025 and we bought a house together, got married, and have been living together for the last 3 years. I've always trusted my partner 100% of the time. We share our locations 24/7 and are very comfortable with using each other's phones daily. I 100% believe she would never intentionally cheat. About a year ago she started going back to this mechanic because again, he would either not charge her for some work or give her a big discount. Money was tight and I told her I was still uncomfortable, but if she could use him for cheap labor that's fine. He has tried to make weird comments or advances and she immediately would shut it down, even though he had a girlfriend and a baby at home. My wife and I started couples therapy about a month ago and just had our first appointment. We decided to go because we had many miscommunication problems that would cause fights or disagreements because neither of us could communicate to each other in the right way over the years. We would eventually come to an agreement, but it would take days before anything would happen. I would stonewall, she would yell. She said she was unhappy because of our communication problems and she felt like we were not growing together as of recently, so we agreed to seek counseling because neither of us wanted to throw away our relationship. The night after our first therapy session we went to dinner after so we could celebrate working together on our relationship. I had told her that her saying she was unhappy was constantly playing in my head. And it made me wonder if the therapy would even help, but I was willing to keep trying and doing the exercises the therapist wanted us to do. Fast forward to today, I come home from work and my wife is sitting there crying saying that she has to talk to me about something. She tells me that a couple days after our appointment she went to get something fixed on her car. I can verify and it was definitely broke. Anyways, she said the mechanic leaned into her and then kissed her and she kissed him back. At this point I am angry with her, saying that I trusted her and this is the second time this man has tried to make an advance on her. She said he attempted to text her multiple times after the appointment and she would immediately shut it down. She was willing to show me any messages, and say that he cannot talk to her like that. He knows of me and knows that we are married. I asked her why she would even do that and she said she felt lost and that our relationship doomed to fail and over after I had told her that her saying she was unhappy was constantly playing in my head. She said she feels terrible and in that moment she doesn't even know why she did it and felt nothing. As a matter of fact, we've had sex multiple times since this occurrence. She decided to not bring it up right away because she wanted to pretend everything was normal and didn't want to put more strain on our relationship. She brought it up to me today because she felt like I had been working so hard on our relationship and everything finally felt normal between us, and she has had this cloud looming over her head and feels guilty. She was sobbing and crying the whole time she was telling me this and she said she was so sorry and feels like shit. And nothing that I can say would be a bad as she's beating herself up in her head, and wanted to let me know that it was nothing I did and it was her insecurities that lead to this. She said she was scared to block him originally out of fear of retaliation as she's been victim to that before with exes. I told her that it's stupid of her to go back to this shop given the circumstances and it all could have been avoided, has her on zero social media, only text, has no idea where we live or work. I am glad she told me, but at the same time I am torn and confused. Even if we were in a bad phase of our relationship I would never reciprocate something like that. I guess I don't know how to move on. I obviously love her. I want to be mad but I don't want to punish her either by shutting her out. We had a very long talk and at the end I told her for now I just needed some time to myself. Update. My wife cheated on me emotionally then was sad. About 2 months ago posted in this sub about my wife, 25, admitting to me, 30M, that she had kissed someone else. We have been together for 5.5 years. At the time of this, the full story was not revealed to me, only after initially snooping around was I able to get the full story. Since then, my wife has been fully transparent and I have had full access to her phone, socials, and location. We also have been doing individual therapy and couples therapy every other week. Through very long and productive conversations I was able to get the full story and timeline of what happened. Her telling me the full details, even though it was hard to hear, has helped me start to heal, and the actual story is far better than what my mind was imagining to fill in the blanks. She willingly answered every question on the spot and showed me proof. It turns out that the cheating started midway through August and was not initially initiated by her. They would text a few times a day, but not at night because the guy also had a family at home. There was some flirting back and forth but no sexual advances or nudes being shared. There was nothing physical at this time. At the time she said she was insecure about our marriage, and this guy chasing her and giving compliments made her felt desired. After the first few weeks my wife did end up going to this guy's auto mechanic shop for repair work. I never thought anything of it in the past because she had went there before with no issues. I still had her location even before the cheating and knew she was getting work done. When she went to the shop to get her car fixed, the guy wanted to drive the car to test brakes. He asked her to go in the passenger seat so he could test drive the car. While she was in the passenger seat, he tried to kiss her twice before driving. She denied it, saying they shouldn't do that. After driving the car for a bit, he then drove her to the back of the shop building alone and tried again. This is when I believe she did kiss him back. He then got on top of her and had tried to get her pants down. He then tried to finger her and she stopped him when he put his hands down there and she said no. He then tried to go down on her orally, and she said no, and he told her he wanted to have sex with her and she again said no and every excuse in the book so he would stop, and he kept asking/pushing. She told me that she never explicitly said she would have sex with him in any of the conversations they had. He then said he's been waiting for this moment forever and wanted it, offered to buy her a hotel room and she said no. He then pulled out his stick and told her he just wanted to put the tip in and was near her and she again said no. He kept asking and asking for just the tip. So, then he asked her for head. According to her she did it because he wouldn't stop pushing and wanted the situation to be over with just to get through it. She said she gave him head for roughly 30 seconds and he said he wanted to finish in her mouth and she said no and stopped, and came up, so he instead just finished himself and then went back to work. She told me afterwards she went to her best friend's house and cried, and she was so ashamed of what had happened. She knew she had to tell me but wasn't sure how to. She did tell me 2 weeks later and confirmed that he was blocked. Nothing physical had happened after that. After a couple rounds of therapy both individually and together, we've been able to construct a full timeline together, and I can't help but think my wife was sexually assaulted. We both came to that conclusion, and we both agreed that doesn't change the previous conversations they had, and she takes full accountability and still admits she cheated. Although the texting and maybe kissing could have been seen as consensual, I don't think the rest was. I still believe she cheated on me and I don't forgive her for that. But at the same time it's hard to hear that she was obviously taken advantage of. And when her and I talk about she described it as the same exact feeling/trauma she had when apparently she was sexually assaulted as a teenager. The last thing I would do is blame the victim who was SA'd, but at the same time it's think the initially conversations unfortunately lead to this. She has said the cheating had to do nothing with sex or physical attraction. Our sex life has always been good. But rather feeling desired and wanted emotionally. I want to be there for her because I do believe that she did not give consent to that and she did not deserve that, but it can be hard because I know she put herself into this scenario. At this time, we are still together. It's been roughly 7 weeks since DD, and every single day she has shown me that she is sorry and will prove to me till the end of time that I made the right choice to stay. We've been able to be intimate together and have sex. We both have had good days together, and bad days together. But the flashbacks and obsessive thoughts have slowly been dwindling, but there are days where I still feel sad. We actively go to therapy to work on our relationship and communication skills. A terrible mistake was made, no doubt, and it's the worst thing that can happen. I am still angry at times, but it passes. If you actually have two people who are willing to move together towards forgiveness, it could take years. It is worth it to try and reconcile.